welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. The Telangana Rashtra Samithi is in the news. Its founder and Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao is trying to get the opposition to unite. He flew to Mumbai to meet Uddhav Thackeray and was in Delhi recently. What is the game plan? From being an ardent supporter, why has he turned a BJP critic? In this edition of HD's weekly talk show, The Interview, we have with us K. Keshav Rao, Parliamentary Party leader and Secretary General of the TRS, to tell us what is in store. Welcome to the show, Mr. Keshav Rao, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me begin with Ukraine. Why is your party, the TRS, silent? Is it because the government has done a good job in evacuating students, or is it too little, too late, as some opposition parties have alleged?
Look here, usually in international affairs, we are all one nationally. The things that need to be corrected in the course correction, we do raise those issues internally so that the government of the day takes cognizance of it and does it. Now, as far as the Ukraine is concerned, there are two issues before us. Number one is Ukraine as such, per se the war, which we are really as much bothered as others are. But at the same time, when you go deep into it, it is the international politics, international issues that are involved. I would not like to comment on them. But evacuation of our boys, students there, the government is doing its best. I think it has done quite well. Let us not find fault at the time when the operations are on.
You know, this is very constructive, what you say, but quite contrary to what the Congress party has alleged, and it has actually attacked the government on evacuation.
Look here, there are faults. What we expect is any Congress party or anyone expect things to be speeded up. They were not smooth because the boys who have come here have given their horrifying experiences, and we react to it. But only because we have reacted to the stories that we hear, we should not take them that serious and say we are finding fault with the policies or the operations of the government.
Okay, let us come to Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's recent visit to Delhi. Who did he meet and what did the meetings yield?
I don't think he has met anybody else, but we have an agenda with us. Chandrasekhar Rao is looking to the national politics or is trying to find some kind of format at the national level, form kind of a front or whatever it is. Let us not talk about what kind of a front we will bring in or what kind of format we will work on. But question is, we must discuss this with the leaders who are concerned leaders who matter. There are many players. We had this experience earlier. We had friends. We had a united front. We had a lot of friends. They have not been that successful as they expected them to be. What is the reason? One is the agenda, the reasons. Number two is the formation. Number three is working together, the operations.
Please decode these 3 points one by one for me.
Now, one is we are not looking for any united front, as was experienced earlier, because I don't think the parties coming together will solve the problem. When they come together, they come for a power. So the issue of power gets the importance. Then you have the leadership issue to be discussed first. Even otherwise, if you have a united leadership, then it is a question of operation. The moment we think of the front, then the number games come to the fore. So this also cannot be immediately solved. So what we should do is, we should evolve some kind of an agenda which is going to bind us together, not only for power, for running the government, running the nation. Number two, the issues that we should focus, our flag, are something which are going to stay for long. One is, let us think, the national issue. Now, the present polarization is something which we are, all of them, Even people in the BJP are also against. This kind of polarization should not take place. The cultural nationalism is something, though we might welcome them, but at the same time, they should not have the place in the politics of the day. Then third, the centralization, the things that are going on, the things that are happening, lead us to some kind of a centralized politics. Center getting more powers on a concurrent list, center getting more subjects to itself without any constitutional backup. And today you are even challenging the very federal setup. You are thinking the federal setup means the state must go along with union and the union has to be strong. So there is some kind of a defect in the very definition of the federal structure. The good word that Modi once used was a cooperative federalism. That was good as far as the word went. But there's nothing like cooperative federalism here today. Third point is, how do we operate? We must, while operating, we must know what kind of format we are looking into. Is it some kind of federal unity that we are seeking without some kind of front? Or is a new party that we are looking into, a national party where all of them conglomerate and join? TRS view is it has to be people-oriented rather than leaders-oriented.
Are you trying to tell me or convince me that this is more issues and not power politics?
Absolutely. It is issue-based, only issue-based. Issues are solved through power. So we must know that we are looking for the both things. One is not alienated from others or isolated from others.
Let me also ask you, the TRS is attempting a non-Congress, non-BJP front, but the idea was shot down by Shiv Sena when Uddhav Thackeray said that there cannot be any front without the Congress. So where does that leave KCR?
No, but we have not yet taken a stand. Uddhav did say that we will join together. What we need to fight in the center on the issues which I have listed out, detailed. At the same time, he said you cannot think of a friend without Congress because they have a Congress alliance with them. After all, their government is with Congress. So you can't expect Uddhav to come and say, look here, I'll quit my government and join you.
So would TRS and KCR be okay with the Congress joining in this front?
Well, we are not yet clear on that issue now. As of now, we are thinking it should be sans BJP and sans Congress. We think so, unless it is proved otherwise. We think the Congress is today rejected by the people.
Another thing KCR seems to be trying to do is what is called a Mamata Banerjee, which means emerging on the national scene, which is okay. But doesn't that conflict and confuse the unity plan because both of them are vying for the same space?
Question is that is how you are looking at it. The moment we are saying a friend, or when we are saying unity, when we say we are coming together, you are looking at the space. That space you are talking about the leadership space. I said it is not power at all. Let us first understand the issues that we have raised. They really concern the states most. Number two, if they concern the states, they concern the people. Unless the people feel that their powers are being taken away with the center and they rise in revolt. So it must come from the ground. That is what we are looking to. So there is no contradiction when we are talking to Mamata ji or talking to Uddhav or talking to Stalin. First of all, we talk about issues, then we talk about leadership. At that place, we might find ourselves in a difficult area.
At one point in time, K. Chandrasekhar Rao was supportive of the BJP on triple talaq and on demonetization. Why this sudden change of heart in the last 1 year when he has distanced himself and is also hitting out at the government, the BJP, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
Two things in this. Number one, that we are bitterest enemies or opponents of BJP should be known, not for these small issues and bills. It is more the way he is handling the very society, where he is seeking the cultural unity rather than the political unity, where he is seeking to polarize people. Once this is done, I tell you, when our hearts are divided on this basis, there will be no nation at all left.
So two things. One, the Hindu constituency, which, if I may say, KCR is also wooing. All the yagnas, the Vastu which he follows is really to unite the Hindus and project himself as someone who believes in these rituals. Second, BJP will not change, Prime Minister Modi will not change, but TRS has had a change of heart. And from being or praising BJP at one point, it has now turned its critic.
First, before his joining politics, or before he could imagine a dream of politics, KCR was a religious man. So it is not to win votes or win the Hindu constituency. These things should be fought on the ideological basis, not on the religious basis. As far as we are concerned, that will continue. I'm telling you, as long as this has gone deep into the mind of Modi, that the society itself, Indian society, is divided into two. Is divided on the basis of religion and not on anything, our culture. That is going to keep us away from him.
But that is a situation which has always been there. So even when it was there and earlier, KCR defended Modi, he was with Modi, he praised Modi.
BJP has come up late after having come to grips of the situation and having come into the power. Today is asserting the nationalism in a different way that we are opposed to.
Mr. Rao, you spoke about Mr. KCR being a Hindu and before he became chief minister practicing these rituals. I take that point. What about Vastu? He has also brought it in public domain and demolished an entire secretariat simply because it was not Vastu compliant.
Earlier secretariat consisted of something like 16 to 17 buildings from Nizam's time. Wherever you needed the office, you built a office for them, like that. So he thought, why not have a beautiful one piece?
So then, what is wrong with the Central Vista project of Prime Minister Modi?
Look here, nobody per se is opposing to that. What we say is the present building, architecture is so beautiful, praised all over the world. So why think of a new building? If you want to, if at all you wanted more space, it can be worked out by the engineers. Number one. Number two is, why spend 220,000 at this stage?
But the same thing can be said about KCR, who's also splurged public money on a new secretariat.
We did not have a building known as secretariat. We had a conglomeration of a collection of some 12 buildings as secretariat. So one minister has to go from this place to another place, and the secretary has to go to one place to other.
That is the logic which is being given for Central Vista also. Everything under one roof.
No. If somebody is giving that logic, let him also think, because we also work in the same parliament.
No, this is not only about parliament. The Central Vista is also about all other government offices under one roof, which is the logic which you have used when you demolished, or KCR or the government demolished the secretariat in the state.
You can't compare the parliament to that of a secretariat.
Mr. Rao, let me correct you. Central Vista is not only the parliament, it is also about housing all government offices under one roof.
If you are talking of the opposite to it, the new complexes that are coming in, and you want to call them as Central Vista, well, unless we are exposed to that, we will not be able to comment.
Who do you consider the TRS's main opposition, BJP or the Congress?
First of all, I don't consider anybody as an opposition to me, because, you see, after all, in a house of 120, the one opposition is the opposition. The main opposition has 7 members. Your BJP has 3 members. Congress has some 5 members. Do you consider the main opposition? No, so not there. But you are saying in the next coming election, who is going to be one who wants to run along with me? They will not run along with me. They would fight among themselves. For me, they are no opponents at all.
If that is the case, then where is the need for the TRS to rope in strategist Prashant Kishore?
You see, we do talk to people. As I said, the new agenda that we have taken up, The new item we have taken up is the national politics. See, look here, Prashant Kishore issue came up because we have taken up a new issues, political issues as a polity. Now we are thinking of going to the national level. We want somebody, and we have heard about Prashant Kishore. We have read about him, and we have known him. So we thought we would talk to him, because if he knows things, it does not mean whatever he says it's Bible to us.
So basically, what you're trying to tell me is that Prashant Kishore has been roped in not for 2023 state elections, but for 2024 general elections.
Quite possible. If it works out, we will go that way.
You know, the TRS will not acknowledge this, and that is understandable. But isn't it a fact that it is rattled by BJP emerging as a force? And the attack is because the TRS is nervous about the BJP's rise. Doesn't this show the TRS's desperation?
Look, as far as Telangana is concerned, BJP does not matter at all. It doesn't exist at all. But at the national level, if you think we are thinking that it is emerging, we really think it is emerging, using his power, misusing his power, abusing his power, and projecting the issues which are dangerous for the country.
You say the BJP has no presence, yet the same party with no presence recently had a winning candidate, Etela Rajendra, who won the election.
No. I have told you, but for two people who won, not only lost deposit, because almost all the BJP who fought against us lost deposits, almost all. But these are the two people who won. One with a very small majority of 500 to 600, Raghunandan, a nice man. So let us give him the credit. And Rajendra, who won with a good majority. So these two will not decide the fate of the Telangana.
But you know, the BJP is emerging as a force to reckon with.
It is. At national level, sure. But it will not come south of Vindhya.
So you're saying the TRS is not at all nervous or rattled by the BJP's rise in the state?
Certainly not. Certainly not the BJP.
And Hazurabad is an exception?
I would say exception, but it's certainly for us, it is some kind of a wake-up call to tell we should not take things that easy.
Is it also true that KCR has given clear directions to the MPs to step up their offensive against the BJP?
He has, and we have given it. As a leader, I've always been talking. If you were to hear me in the parliament from the day one, we have always been opposing the BJP, although we have stood with them on the issue, on the bills. But we did criticize every part of it. So today, CM telling us, KCR telling us that we should up our ante against the BJP is not surprising.
Has there also been a change of heart vis-a-vis Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Because the TRS has been defending him lately.
See, defending him, it is only on basis of the ideological and programs and the policies. So it has nothing to do with Rahul as such.
Your party recently defended Mr. Rahul Gandhi on the issue of his parentage.
Naturally, any Indian, any human being, any Indian will certainly come out with that. You can criticize me on any issue, on a policy, on the program, on my actions, but certainly not talk about my family and my parentage.
Fair enough. So you stand by what KCR's observation about Rahul Gandhi has been, which is that he is, quote unquote, the biggest buffoon.
Well, I would not like to comment on that. Sometimes he said that, sometimes he has also praised him. So why should we not? You see, the contextual. We must look in what context he might have said. Otherwise, he would never say buffoon. How can we talk about other being a buffoon? What type of context demanded it?
What is your perception about Rahul Gandhi?
I would not like to comment because I had worked with him.
All the more reason you should comment because you worked with him and you know him
better
than many others.
Yeah, no, I know him. if not better than others, as much as others know, who are closer to him. He's a very receptive man, interested in knowing things. By himself, he reads a lot of things. But when it comes to action, perhaps for reasons better known to the party and better known to him, he is not that active as people expect him to be.
Your critics say that the attack BJP campaign, as it were, is a bid to divert attention from governance failures, be it charges of splurging, dynastic rule, and KCR promoting his son, and so on and so forth.
No, we have never tried to divert the attention of the people from the governance, because we want them to criticize them on our programs and the policies. We are in such a overwhelming majority. Why should we divert the attention of the people?
Are desertions a worrying factor? Because the BJP is saying that many more will join the BJP and quit TRS. Is that a worry?
It is a daydreaming for BJP to think that people will quit TRS and join them.
Add to this the Chief Minister's image of being inaccessible and, if I may use the term, somewhat arrogant. Doesn't that multiply your problems?
You see, when you take decisions and stand by them very sternly and strictly, you consider it as arrogance. It looks little stubborn, and we consider it as arrogance. Otherwise, I don't see any arrogance in KCR.
What about the charge of his promoting his children, particularly his son?
Give me one example in the country where people have not promoted their children. Here, as far as KCR is concerned, please talk to his promoting the son, that is KTR, K. Ramarao. If you hear him, you would say he should have really been in the center stage.
So you see nothing wrong in dynastic rule?
No, I certainly find fault with dynastic rule. But dynastic rule is something you bring somebody else and put him in the position, and even when he fails, when he absolutely looks at them, then even then you go on supporting him, backing him up.
Are you talking of the Congress party?
I would not commit.
You know, KCR is being termed by everyone, practically everyone, as a very smart politician, in the sense that he has deftly changed the narrative from state level and shifted focus to Prime Minister Modi and attacking him. So that somehow has brought the TRS center stage and at a national level.
Well, this has to be done. If I'm in the business, I take up all the clues and do that. He is smart because he has to be smart. He is smart and he has created his own narrative. It is true that to strengthen him both at the local level and also national level, create a new Vista for him at the national level is working.
What about your chief minister could be the prime minister campaign, which has been launched in the state?
Well, I wish it happens, but it is politics. It is number game. It is also the ideology, the people-oriented thing. The people should agree to it, and people should come together to flag this issue.
Isn't it unbecoming of a chief minister, and here I would again talk of KCR, to attack Prime Minister Modi and his dress sense? Upar sherwani, andar pareshani. What would you say to that?
के ऊपर शेरवानी अंदर परेशानी हैदराबाद में हम हर वक्त कहते रहते हैं. ये किसके लिए? जो आदमी talk big but doesn't do anything, तो हम उसको ऊपर शेरवानी अंदर परेशानी बोलते हैं. It is not that derogative as you are thinking.
Mr. Keshav Rao, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kukum.